have to talk about an issue yet again. What happened on the Long Island Railroad main line last night, where a vehicle collided with a non-passenger M7 train near the Mineola station. Service was restored this morning. I will get into that as long as we read this Newsday article together, so I recommend we do that right now. Shall we? Sorry for being a little sarcastic, but in this situation, it was just crazy watching Matt Camper for 3-4 hours last night, but he was the only one doing round-the-clock coverage last night of this, so let's get into what happened. Long Island Railroad service has been restored through Mineola after a train hit a vehicle last night in a fiery collision. The service was restored earlier this morning in a tweet that was sent out at 4 a.m., and we will, of course, go on my Twitter during this video. The crash had caused damage in Mineola and suspended service in both directions on the Huntington, Port Jefferson, Ronkonkoma, and Oyster Bay branches. Both tracks have been repaired. No injuries were reported from the Nassau County Police Department. But, however, the Nassau County Police Department said last night track damage was extensive. A nearby building was also partially burned. And I recommend, go on my Twitter feed, at Andy's Randomness. I shared the video that CBS 2 did last night after the March Madness coverage was over, and I watched it live along with Matt Camper on his Periscope. Spokeswoman Nancy Gammerman said last night the vehicle may have stalled on the tracks, but the driver got out before the vehicle was struck around 7:50 last night on Willis Avenue by Front Street by a train that had finished its run and was not carrying its passengers and most likely was going to Penn Station to pick up people. There were crew on the train. The article didn't mention that. The train and the vehicle were both removed by 11 o'clock last night. Keeping in mind, the driver, who was later on reported as a female, was using a GPS app, and the GPS app told her to go on the railroad tracks. So, I don't have any other reaction other than, you're not supposed to go on the railroad tracks. That's all I'm going to say. And we are going to go to Firefox right now because Newsday told me I had to subscribe to the newsletter, otherwise they wouldn't let me read the article. Sorry for ranting and raving, but let's just take a look at my Twitter feed. So, first thing we're going to take a look at was from here. Ooh, we'll look at that in a sec. There is extensive damage which is suspected to keep the station out of service through the weekend, first reported by News 12. That didn't happen. This is what Matt Camper said last night. They were expecting the Mineola station and the main line to be out of service this weekend, but thankfully that didn't happen. Thankfully, this situation, they were able to get this solved. I said we by accident. My vocabulary is off because I'm just so annoyed. What happened last night? And then you have the vehicle. Let's pause this video. I will keep the sound off here. Yeah, we're just going to wait for the vehicle to... Because I know how bad it will look on Cam Studio. Let's just make sure we can pause it from where I want to go. Yeah, so this is the vehicle right here. That's the vehicle that got crushed last night. I can't really make out. It looks like an older model Toyota. I don't know. I'm just assuming it is. This was tweeted by NJ Burkett, who I've watched for many years on Channel 7 News, WABC Television. Oh, this is from the random photo I saw from Matt Camper's Twitter. I decided to retweet that out. Yeah, the railroad was tweeting, and then I shared out Pine Power's video last night. And a couple other photos right by the building over there that was affected. There's the M7 that was from this incident. Amanda Grimes from CBS2 tweeted out this video. Yeah, and then look at this. Ronkonkoma didn't get shoveled out from the Nor'easter. I was going to quickly mention that. You know, I'm just ashamed that the main line keeps getting neglected. How was Patrick Nowakowski able to get away with this? That's all I want to know. It's Cuomo. That's why. That's what I'm thinking. So Ken Buffa from NBC New York tweeted out these 3 photos of the car that was damaged. Now, from the NJ Burkett video, it looks different. But from this, it definitely looks from a different point of view. Okay, now we're going to take a look at this photo tweeted from @JimNickas. He tweeted out this photo, believe it or not, 10:46. So Newsday sort of got their information wrong when they wrote that article, and I just read to you here on the video. So this is the vehicle that was removed from the scene. Now, at first, it looks like a Toyota, right? A Camry, Corolla. This sort of looks like a crossover. Probably a Mercedes-Benz. I hope not. Yeah, and then this was tweeted out at the Mineola station. Actually, no, this isn't Mineola. This is by Penn, excuse me. So Jim Nickas tweeted this photo last night. I want to exit out of this. Why is Firefox going haywire on me? Here we go. This is a funny photo. @RickRosa7 tweeted out, "The best kind of happy hour is when you decide to wait out Penn Station rush only to see that the Long Island Railroad is usually a mess." Well, that I will say is accurate. Let's just pull this photo up for a sec. How in the world, and I'm sorry for ranting and raving here for a sec, look how many Babylon trains, they get half-hourly service. Look at this. Huntington. How in the world can they say the 1142 Huntington's going to run at 10:51 at Penn Station? I know where this is. This is one of the big boards at Penn Station. Yeah, hey, look at this. Customers are advised to use the Babylon, Hempstead, Montauk, and Port Washington branches. Ah. See, again, I'm sorry to brag on, but I'm relieved I live by the Babylon branch because Jamaica, we get a lot of trains that stop over there. Okay, so NJ Burkett tweeted out another. Yeah. So, Matt Camper's dad, the 1137 from Penn to Babylon wasn't overcrowded because Matt Camper's father was in the city last night for an event. And then this is idiocracy. The 1117 train. Let's go down here for a sec. Can we find that photo? Yeah, it wasn't on this board. And yet Matt Camper sends out this tweet. Let's go over here. And I agree with him on this. How are people supposed to get to Hicksville if there's no shuttle train service between Babylon and Hicksville and no shuttle buses are being provided? Again, very poor planning by the Long Island Railroad. That's for sure. That's for sure. Overcrowding conditions report on the 1108 from Penn to Babylon. I agree. The train should have bypassed Forest Hills and Kew Gardens. Alright? I completely agree with Matt. You know, another thing. I'm going to criticize New York City Transit. Why weren't they cross-honoring on the subways? You know, I'm just going to say that now. There was no cross-honoring on the subways last night. And there was no shuttle bus service last night. I'm going to go on a huge rant after this video regarding this issue last night. Right at the end. Because I'm just had it up to here with Patrick Nowakowski's lame excuses that he's been giving since December. We have to talk about that. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, this is the tweet I was looking for. This was tweeted out at 4 a.m. So this is what Newsday was referencing to right here. Yeah, one good comment. What am I supposed to do for my reimbursement for the Uber that took me in Jamaica? I totally agree. Okay, so Pine Power last night, in his video, was showing this. This is Willis Avenue by Front Street where the railroad tracks meet up, all right? Here's the problem with this area. If we can, you can turn back here. Yeah, there we go. There's some fencing over there, right? Here's the fence. Obviously, there it is. Now, you look over here. This is probably where the lady came onto the railroad tracks. There's no fencing. And I completely agree with Pine Power. There should be millions and millions of dollars invested into these new safety systems to prevent incidents from happening like this ever again. I'm glad the lady was able to get out of her car, but all I'm going to say next time is don't go near the railroad tracks and what I usually do is I map out stuff beforehand. I don't believe in GPS that much. I like to map out stuff so that way I don't go crazy over here. Yeah, and there goes I think that's an M3 down there. M3, disgusting. I don't like M3s. So does Matt Camper, which that I'm also going to mention in my rant at the end of this video. Because the M3s have to go too. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's no fencing. There's a parking lot right there. They could literally drive onto the railroad tracks. I'm sorry for bringing that up, but John, you hit the nail on the spot last night. Thank you for bringing this to my attention, because I would have never even thought of bringing it up in this video, because I'm just baffled. I really, really am. And keeping in mind, this image was taken from Google in July of last year. So, this is a recent photo. Okay, 8-9 months old. From this point of view, the MTA needs to do something. But they won't, because Patrick Nowakowski has his big ego telling him Babylon, 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 Babylon. Baby little Babylon Ranch. Baby little white Babylon Ranch. And again, I'm sorry for being a hypocrite. I'm sorry for saying that, but as a mainline customer, okay, because keeping in mind, everyone, I've said this before, I refuse to take the 138 Babylon when I'm in the city. For one reason and one reason only, is because I don't want to stop at Forest Hills and Kew Gardens and then miss the 2 o'clock Q30 bus to get back to Fresh Meadows. That's why I take the main line. If the railroad's going to say, oh, we have a problem, I don't care. I mean, I could take the 206 Babylon. I'll get home an hour late. I don't care. I have the option of taking the 206 Babylon. Before I rant on and go off topic, because I will rant, I promise. I got that part of the rant out of the way. Let's go to my final thoughts about overall why Patrick Nowakowski needs to be fired on Monday. Alright, so yes, unfortunately, I have to share Patrick Nowakowski and Joe Loda's faces in this video. I don't even want to put Andrew Cuomo's face in this video, because the last thing I need is to look at his stupid face as I'm ranting along. Okay? Bottom line is, this mainline chaos has been going on for almost 90 days. 90 days! And you know why I'm going to say 90-day time period for this? And I'm going to say this now. It's like when you order a product from TV. Alright, you get a 90-day trial, and if you don't like it, you take it back. There should be the same equivalency to Patrick Nowakowski. You give the man 90 days. And it's bad enough this man, he's been on the job for 4 years now. Okay? And I used to remember, again, this is back in my high school days. I used to remember the Long Island Railroad rarely having a problem. Even in my senior year of high school. Because keeping in mind, the railroad only had a problem during Sandy. Right? Other than that, the railroad usually ran on time or there was a few minute delays, alright? Now on to Patrick Nowakowski. I'm going to say this now. You got to go back, okay? You really want to backtrack to these issues? I think John was telling me we have to go back to October when these problems started. But to be honest, the continuancy of these problems, you go back to right after Christmas, okay? This is when people started going back to work after Christmas. And we had that terrible week of cold weather that was causing the Long Island Railroad to have problems right after Christmas. And I remember that. I even remembered covering it. And Queens Village does impact the main line and also impacts the Hempstead branch. Yes. But let's not forget that the real cause of the problem started then when the MTA refused to start sending out shuttle buses during emergencies. And I'm going to put the PIP up right now. See this? This is a bus slot, Patrick Nowakowski. This is New York City buses. Out of a lot that you could have sent out last night. And Matt Camper said a very good point last night. You have to send the coach buses out of service into borough between Manhattan and Queens. They should have been sent out to Jamaica, Merlon Avenue, New Hyde Park, Mineola, Hicksville. That's where these buses should have been going to and from, right? Instead of making people figure out how to take nice bus. And I don't like people taking nice bus that much. I don't want to recommend it, but lately it seems it's the same repeating story. You're screwed. You're screwed. You're screwed. It's like that scene from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles where the lady says in the clean version, if you've seen it on TV, to Steve Martin, you're screwed. Alright? This is the same equivalency. Patrick Nowakowski is the same smirky lady from the car rental agency from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I'm sorry for making that reference, and I'm sure you may recognize her as the assistant principal from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I hope many people have seen it, because Frank hasn't, but bottom line is, it's like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Right? Steve Martin gets screwed, right? This is what it's like now. This is a real-life Planes, Trains, and Automobiles situation we are in right now. And if you've seen the movie many times with John Candy and Steve Martin, this is just like it, where Steve Martin gets into transportation problems. I'm even sure Steve Martin would frickin' flip out at Patrick Nowakowski. I'm sorry for bringing up movie references here, but this equates to Patrick Nowakowski. Because he wants you to take the preppy little Babylon Ranch. Thankfully, if I was in the city last night, and I wanted to take a mainline train, guess what? Babylon trains were running every half hour. Okay? But I don't go into the city on Friday. That's a whole other point. But I could have taken the Babylon Ranch. No problem. Because thankfully on weekday nights, the Q30 run runs every 10 minutes. Right before midnight. Right around midnight even. What's not the point? The point is, Patrick Nowakowski's time has come to go. After what happened last night, after being incompetent to not even send out buses to pick up people, I'm going to say this now. He needs to be fired on Monday. Plain simple. Or even this weekend. I don't even know if Joe Loda can go to work this weekend and fire Patrick Nowakowski. Because he's letting Patrick Nowakowski get away with stuff. And I'll bring up Nick Durst for a sec, alright? Nick, if you're watching this video, you helped me get out of my problem with Janine, which we're not going to get into in this video. And you were right about Joe Loda. Okay? You were completely right that Cuomo made the wrong move bringing back Joe Loda to the MTA. Alright? Because he's ruined people's lives who take the Long Island Railroad main line. Alright? People who need that line each and every day to get to and from work, or people who are day trippers and want to go into the city, or even night owls who go into the city, is ruin their lives. That this man has done so much bad. And Nick, I'm going to say it now. You were right. Joe Lhota is just making things worse too. Joe Lhota has one right thing to do on Monday, or even this weekend, or maybe as I'm speaking right now, and that is to fire Patrick Nowakowski. It needs to be done before the end of the week, even next week. In fact, I'm going to say this now. If Pete Bharara was still the Attorney General right now, I'm sure maybe he would do something. I don't know. That's why I want him to be New York State Attorney General. He'd be certainly way better than Eric Schneiderman, for crying out loud. That's not the point. Point is, Nowakowski has to go. Bottom line, he has to be fired on Monday, or even this weekend, because this needs to stop. There needs to be a change. The main lines, if this keeps happening, there won't even be a main line, because Nowakowski's going to want you to take the Babylon branch every time you want to go into the city or go anywhere else in Nassau, because that's his main priority. He only cares if you live in Merrick or Belmore or Massapequa or Wantaw or Seaford. No, that's where he cares about you. Even Babylon. Because there's Wall Street people, including Cuomo, because Cuomo has his influences towards Wall Street. And Andrew Cuomo, being the hypocrite that he is, not going to get into. This needs to stop. Patrick Nowakowski, this soundbite is for you as the video is ending. I hope this soundbite will be your destiny come Monday morning, March 26th, 2018.